Hey guys, welcome back to another video. I am in full-on baby watch and nesting mode, and I figured while I was getting everything out and ready for the baby, I would make a video for you talking about exactly what you need and what you don't need when you are having a baby. When I was expecting my first child, I really just wanted to know the bare essentials that I needed for having a baby. Because I'm very much a minimalist, as you know if you've been around my channel for long, and we were going to one income when the baby arrived. So we wanted to spend the least amount of money possible while still having everything that we actually needed to have a baby. But if you've spent any time at all on any sort of baby registry websites, they will tell you that you need everything and the kitchen sink in order to fully prepare yourself for a baby. And even though I had spent a fair amount of time as a nanny before I had my own kids, and I knew the essentials that I would actually need and use, I still felt like I was being guilted into spending way more on way more things than I actually needed. So I decided to go back to the very basics and look at things that people all over the world actually need for their baby and things that people through history have actually needed for their baby. And I actually looked also at the registry list of my family that I had been nannying for most recently, because they had a very minimalist approach to what they had for their baby as well. So whether you are a minimalist that just doesn't want your house overrun by a bunch of baby junk that you're never going to use, or if you are on a tight budget and you only want to spend what you absolutely need to, this video will help you out, because those are the two philosophies that I was coming from when I was creating my baby registry. And if you have seen any of my other videos, you know that this is my third baby, so I can tell you which things are going to last really well through multiple children. And I'm going to show you a couple extra things that I did buy for this baby specifically and why I chose to do that. If you are new to my channel, welcome. My name is Kassy with makingtimeforgiggles.com, and I make videos all about simplifying mom life. So be sure to subscribe down below if you enjoyed this video and if you would like to see more videos like it. Now, before we jump into the actual video, if you don't want to take notes and try to remember all of the things we talk about, I do have a minimalist baby registry checklist that you can download, and I will link that in the description down below. Now, my favorite place to register for my baby items is Amazon.com, and I will link how to sign up for an Amazon baby registry in the description down below as well. The reason that I like Amazon is because, one, most people are familiar with it. Even older generations and people who don't really like the internet have gotten into Amazon. So it's something that just about everyone has access to. Another reason I like it is because you can have things shipped directly to your house. And the third reason that I really like having an Amazon baby registry is because you are eligible for 2 clearing purchases. Now, a clearing purchase is as you get close to your due date, and I don't remember the exact dates. It's so many days before your due date and so many days after. You can go into your registry, and any items that haven't been purchased for a baby shower or anything like that, you can go put all of those into your cart from the registry, and you can get either a 10% discount if you aren't a Prime member or a 15% discount if you are a Prime member. So that can be a huge help if you have more items that you need that were not purchased for you. And keep in mind that you can create a registry even if you are not having a baby shower. So we created baby registries for our second and our third baby because there were some things that we needed for each of those children, even though we weren't planning on having a formal baby shower. And that was just to enable us to have that clearing discount and purchase items for cheaper once we got close to my due date. Now, a mistake I see a lot of people make with baby shower registries is that they want to put a lot of items on their registry so that there is a big variety for people to choose from. But the problem with this is that most people will choose the fun items, and you will get very few of the actual practical items that you want. So my philosophy when creating our baby registry was to put all of the items that we really needed on the registry. And if those items all got purchased, then I would add in some more of the fun items that people may want to purchase. All right, so with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and dig into the items that you will actually need if you are a minimalist mom or a mom on a budget. So the first item that we are going to tackle is diapers. Will you be using disposable diapers or cloth diapers? And if you aren't quite sure which will be best for your family, I have a couple of questions you can ask yourself to help determine the answer. The first question is, do you travel a lot? The second is, are you working outside of the home? And the third question is, will your baby be with sitters or with daycare providers for a considerable amount of time? If you answered yes to some or all of those questions, disposable will likely be the best choice for you. But if you are on a single income, if you struggle to make ends meet, or if you just want to minimize your carbon footprint, then cloth diapers might be the best choice for you. Ultimately, though, you and your partner will have to decide what works best for you and your family. Now, no matter what you decide to do, you will want to have some disposable diapers for those first few weeks, even if you are going to switch to cloth later. So I have a small package here of newborn diapers because, yes, with our first we used newborn for probably a month. With our second, I think we used them for about a week. And who knows, with the third, it might be an even bigger baby. They may not use them much at all. But I did want to have a little bit just in case, and maybe I'm just hoping that it is a small baby and it will need to use some newborn diapers at least. And then we have this big thing of size 1 diapers because we will use disposable diapers for the first couple of weeks exclusively, and then we will probably use them for nights and nap times at least up until 6 weeks old as we work the cloth diapers into our routine. Now, don't feel like you have to take notes on all of this stuff. I will leave links in the description down below if you want to look into the items that we have here for cloth diapering or anything on the Minimalist Baby Registry list. But if you choose to do cloth diapers for your baby, you will want to have some inserts. We have quite a few here, and this is what goes into the covers. Now, the covers keep the clothing from getting wet, and it just kind of keeps everything in. So these are very handy, but they do get dirty after a time or two of using them. So you will want to have also several of these. I recommend about 10 for the size 1 diapers because the poo when they're little just kind of goes everywhere. And then for the size 2, I think we have 6 or 7. It's much less that you actually need once they get to the size 2 diapers. Something else you want to have if you choose to cloth diaper is a wet bag. And these things are actually awesome even if you don't cloth diaper because you can put wet clothes in here or anything else and it will keep your bag dry, your diaper bag. And it's just waterproof and you can throw the entire bag into your washer when you are done using it. So very, very helpful for little ones. And I actually have 2 or 3 of these just because they're so helpful to have in my diaper bag. Then I also use these inserts. They are from Thirsties. And I put these in with the cloth diaper for nighttime cloth diapering. And it will just help the baby not get as wet and uncomfortable. They worked really, really well for our first baby. We only used cloth diapers once the first few weeks were done, and we had no problems with it. For our second baby, though, she just was way too uncomfortable. I think she was a heavier wetter, and we had to end up using disposables at night. So you can always mix and match, and you can just do whatever works for your family and your child. Then the other thing you will want if you are cloth diapering is a couple of small hampers like this, and I think I got this at Walmart for like 98 cents, and a pail liner. And these are from Planetwise, and these are absolutely amazing because once you stop cloth diapering your baby, you can take them on trips with you as a laundry bag. And then you just put them around the hamper here. And I have two hampers and 2 bags. And then you can just put the dirty diapers in here and you sprinkle some baking soda on it so that it doesn't smell. And then you can just dump everything out, and the liner is also washable. So that helps a lot when you are doing your cloth diaper laundry. And then if you decide to do cloth diapers, you will also want to have some cloth wipes. And the reason that I say you want to do cloth wipes is because one of the families that I nannied for actually did cloth diapers and disposable wipes. And I actually found it more complicated to use disposable wipes, and then you have to kind of take the disposable wipes to a trash, put the cloth diaper in a different area, And I've found it a lot easier just to use disposable, or either disposable for everything or cloth for everything. And then everything just gets thrown into the same area. Now, with both of my first two, I would have a thing of water, and I would dissolve some coconut oil into the water. And then I would just have several of the wipes in the water ready to go whenever we needed them. So that pretty much covers diapers. And obviously, if you are doing disposable diapers, you will want to get a big thing of disposable wipes as well. And the cheapest place we have found for disposable wipes and disposable diapers is Costco. So if you have a Costco membership, definitely take advantage of that. Now, another tip here is if you do choose to do cloth diapers, there's actually a huge market for used cloth diapers, which I found really weird when I first heard about it. But for people who are interested in the environmental reasons for cloth diapering, apparently you don't realize those results until the second or third kid. So often people want to buy lots of used cloth diapers so that they can get the full environmental benefit from doing cloth diapers. So check out Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace. A lot of times you can find people selling their whole lot of cloth diapers for ridiculously cheap. I know my sister was able to get all of her cloth diapers and her covers and maybe even some of her wipes for, I think it was $100 total, which is just insane when you think about that over the life of one child, much less 2 or 3 or 4 children. So definitely check that out if you are interested in cloth diapering. Now, the next thing on my minimalist baby registry list, especially if you are on a budget, is a baby bed. And not just any baby bed. If you'll notice, this is not a traditional crib. This is a pack and play. And this is thanks to the last family that I nannied for. They had a very small studio apartment when they had their baby. And she told me, listen, you do not need a crib with all the bells and whistles to have a baby. All you need is a pack and play. So the first reason that I love just having a pack and play is because it is so portable. It is super easy to take it with you when you go places, and then your baby isn't having to get used to a new place to sleep when you do go somewhere. It's still their bed, just in a different place. And because during those first few weeks, we had our babies sleep in our room to make nursing easier for me and just all of those night wakings, I didn't have to get up and walk as far. And the pack and play could just fit right next to my bed. So they were already getting used to it from the very beginning. Another reason I like using a pack and play is because it is smaller. A lot of those cribs are just really big and kind of unnecessarily big in my opinion. We used this until our middle daughter was 2.5 or 3. She was able to still fit comfortably in this bed. And then we just transitioned her straight into a toddler bed, which for us is a mattress on the floor. And it just worked really well for us. So I highly recommend, especially if you're on a budget, a pack and play is so much cheaper than getting a crib. And it works just as well for those young years. And then most pack and plays also will have a higher area. I don't have it installed in here yet. My husband still needs to grab that out so we can put it together before the baby comes. But they will usually have a higher setting that you can put the baby in so you don't have to lean over as far when they're really tiny. And then as soon as they start rolling or anything like that, you can drop it down and they can be put in the bottom of the crib as well. And then in a lot of the newer pack and plays as well, they will have a bassinet attachment, which this one does have. And we definitely use that a lot for both of our first 2 kids when they were really tiny. And it just holds them up at a little bit of an angle and kind of snuggles them in and makes sure that they are nice and cozy when they are sleeping. Now, if you choose to get a pack and play, you can get sheets that are specifically fitted for a pack and play. And you can also get a waterproof mattress cover, which comes in very handy if you like to do any sort of early potty training like we did. And it just keeps the actual pack and play mattress or mat, whatever it is, from getting damaged. Now, the next thing on our list is a non-negotiable, especially if you live in the US, you will want to have some sort of car seat for your baby. I recommend getting an all-in-one car seat, and these car seats go from infant size all the way up to a booster seat. We have actually purchased 2 different brands of these all-in-one car seats, and I will put a link in the description down below to the blog post that goes along with this video because I go into a lot of detail on the pros and cons of each one. But we have used the Graco Forever and the Diono all-in-one. Basically, it comes down to if you're going to have 3 or more kids, the Diono is really nice because it is very narrow. But the reason we like the Graco is because it has a lot of recline positions, which is especially nice for younger kids who will fall asleep in the car. Now, the one drawback to the all-in-one car seats is they don't pop out of the car as easily. You know how you always see people carrying around that car seat part when they have a newborn baby. The all-in-ones just don't pop out like that because they aren't designed for that. They're designed to be an all-in-one system. So we purchased a new all-in-one car seat for our babies. And then we actually looked on Craigslist and were able to find either new or almost new infant car seats. And then we would use that during the time when they were really tiny and you wanted to be able to keep them sleeping and pop out that top part of the car seat. The all-in-ones, though, I would not recommend finding on Craigslist because they are pretty good and used by the time people are done with them. This time, since our oldest now is 7, she is old enough to have a regular booster seat, and we opted to get a MyFold or MeFold. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce it, but it's a very narrow booster seat, and it will work in our car, which is a very narrow vehicle, and we will be able to continue using that even with all 3 kids. Now, the next item on my list is a baby carrier. And before I had nannied and before I had my own kids, I probably would have rolled my eyes if anyone told me that this was a minimalist item or a budget-friendly item, but I used it all the time, both when I was a nanny and when I had my own kids. So we chose the Lilla Baby carrier. It is a 6-in-1 carrier. There are 6 different ways that you can use it. I typically just used it in 2 of the ways, I believe. But I got the Lilla Baby Airflow, so I don't know if you can tell, but it's actually see-through because baby wearing is really hot. You have this nice little bag here, which is really, or not a bag, I guess. Oh, I still have some things from the last kids for when we were on hikes and things like that. They loved having a domino to hold for some reason. And this little chewy thing, I should probably sanitize that. But you have a little pocket here that you can put a key in or some little toys or things like that. And there's a sunshade, which you can also just tuck in when you aren't using it. And one of the things I really loved about this was that you can carry them in the front or in the back. And in the front position, you can also carry them forward facing in an ergonomically correct way. And again, I will link the blog post down below. I go into more details about what to look for in a carrier on that article. But I 100% recommend this carrier if you don't want to do a ton of extra research. But I know that I've used it for hiking, grocery shopping, cleaning, or sometimes my babies were just really fussy in the evening and I could put this on when I was cooking. I used it at least every day for the first probably 6 months or so. And then I probably used it once a week after that until they were about 2. The next item you'll want to have some form of is a diaper bag because you will need to carry things with you for the baby when you are out and about, whether it be diapers or formula or some of both. And it's usually good to have an extra pair of clothes around just in case. So you'll want to have some sort of diaper bag. I think for my second, I used just a tote bag pretty much the whole time. But I do really like having a backpack diaper bag as well because then I have both of my hands free to do whatever I need to do with the baby or one of my older children. The next thing you will want to have some of is blankets. And when I was expecting my first child, I was told by several people, don't put blankets on your baby registry because you will end up with so many baby blankets. So I didn't. And then we didn't get any baby blankets. Thankfully, we were having more than one baby shower, and I did put baby blankets on there before the second one came around because you do want some blankets. You'll want to have a few of receiving blankets, which are these kind of, they're almost like flannel. They're more of a cloth, I guess. I'm probably not describing this very well at all, but These blankets are just really helpful. They're a little bit warmer than swaddle blankets, and they can also double as burp cloths when you don't have a burp cloth around. So we definitely used receiving blankets quite a bit, especially in the first couple of months. Honestly, after that, I don't think we used them a lot, but we did use them for the first few months. So you don't need to go overboard. Probably 5, maybe 10 at the most would be plenty of receiving blankets. And then you'll also want to have some swaddle blankets. And swaddle blankets, again, we used a lot in the first couple of months and then not a ton after that. My oldest was a summer baby, and honestly, we would just put a diaper on her, swaddle her up in one of these, and that's pretty much what she lived in for the first few months of life. And they just worked really, really well, especially if you're having a baby in the spring or summer, because they're a lighter blanket, and you can also use them to actually swaddle your baby if you choose to do that. And that will keep you from having to buy swaddlers and blankets, because you can use these for both. And again, I would say 5 to 10 max. You don't need to go overboard. You don't need a ton of blankets, but you do want to have a few of each. And then both of my girls have really enjoyed having a security blanket. I will link a couple of our favorites in the description down below. The blanket that my second daughter has, she is obsessed with, and it has been through a lot in its 4 years of life with her. And if it can survive that, I highly recommend the blanket, because she uses that thing every single day. And it has held up quite well for 4 years. So I will put a link to that in the description down below, as well as a couple of the others that my oldest daughter has used and loved. Now, the next item that we're going to tackle is baby clothes. And as you know, if you have watched any of my other baby videos, we do not find out the gender of our children. And many people have told us, well, how can you prepare if you don't know the gender of your children? And it's really not as hard as you would think. You get gender neutral of all of your main items. And then for the baby clothes, you get about a week's worth of baby girl clothes and a week's worth of baby boy clothes. And when we were expecting our first, actually, we got a few packs of gender neutral onesies and sleepers. And then I actually went to a secondhand store and got a couple of newborn items for each gender, a couple of 0 to 3 items for each gender, and a couple of 3 to 6 items for each gender as well. And then we were pretty much ready. It doesn't take a lot to clothe a little baby, and it's really not that hard, especially in the age of the internet, to order more items as soon as you know what you had. Okay, so now we are going to move on to feeding baby. And if you plan on breastfeeding and if you choose to use a cover, I recommend getting an actual nursing cover. When I was expecting my first child, I did not get one of these. I was planning on using my swaddle blankets, because it says on the description that you can also use these as nursing covers just by tying them up and around your neck. And yes, you can, but it is really hard when you are first learning how to nurse if you can't actually see the baby. And because of how the blanket is designed, you would have to be holding the baby and holding this out, and it was just not very easy for me. So the actual nursing cover has a ribbing or something. I don't even know what you call it. Ribbing? Is that the right word? I don't even know. It has something in it that makes it stick out when you are using it. So you can easily see the baby, and you use both of your hands when you need to do that as well. So it made my life so much easier, especially for nursing out and about. And I used this thing constantly. So I would recommend one of these if you feel like you want to cover as you are nursing. Obviously, you don't have to do that. I just felt more comfortable when I was doing that. And then you can get, through most insurances, a breast pump, which I highly recommend doing, because I assumed I would just nurse using no breast pumps or formula or anything like that. But like I mentioned in my other video, it did not work out that well for me. Along those lines as well, I thought that I wasn't going to use any bottles with any of my kids, and I ended up using them quite a bit with my second. So I have used the Dr. Brown's bottle, and we really liked them. We have a few here, And they do have more gadgets, I guess, that you have to put together and things like that. But they are supposed to be the most similar to actually breastfeeding. And they worked very, very well for our second daughter. And then I also have some sippy cups in there because at some point you will need sippy cups. It seems like 6 months is a long way off when you first are preparing for your baby, but it comes a lot faster than you think it will. And I can link our favorite one of those down in the description as well. And if you plan on nursing or pumping or anything at all in that genre, you will also want to have nursing pads. And I really like the Bamboobies brand because they are reusable and they're very comfortable to wear even when you're very, very sore and don't want anything there. So I have several of the overnights. I got, I think, one package that was completely overnight and one package that has these daytime ones that are a little bit lighter because you are changing them out more and the baby's nursing more during the day. And it came with one of the overnight ones as well. So I will link both of those in the description down below. One of each of these should be enough for most people with a moderate flow. Now with my first baby, I did use the disposable ones right at first and I liked those as well, but I just like the fact that these I can use and keep using. Even though they're a little bit more expensive, they're not something that's just getting thrown away after one use. And it was really easy to just wash them and use them again. You will need to wear them, at least I did, the entire time that I was nursing or pumping. Now, this leads me to a couple items that I got for this baby that I had not gotten for previous babies. And one of those items, or I guess two of those items, is some nursing tops. Some tops that are actually made for nursing, because in the past I just used my maternity clothes, or I had one tank cami type thing that was for nursing and it worked fairly well, but it just made things a little bit difficult, especially if I needed to dress up or go somewhere or like going to church, things like that. So I did decide to get a couple nursing tops to try that out because I'm going to try to nurse or at least pump again. And I think this will make it a little bit easier of a process if I can make that work. So I'm excited to try these out. And then the other things, which I got these as a set, and I will try to find and link the set down below because there were a lot of options, but I got a haka. This came highly recommended from friends for supply for when you are nursing. You put this on the side that the baby is not nursing on, and you can collect and actually use the letdown instead of it just leaking. And then these are actually also something that you can put in your nursing bra, also the Haka brand, so you can actually collect instead of just leaking out any extra. So I will still use these at night, and obviously when I'm out and about I can't go around with these in my bra, but these will be really great for at home, and especially those first few weeks when you have a surplus, being able to actually collect that and use that I think would be a huge benefit. And then this little set that I got also came with a little brush to clean the pieces. And then I got this little cap along with it as well, because you can seal it on and then you don't have to worry about if it spills over. I'm really excited to try these. I cannot say yet whether or not they were worth the money for me, but I'm very excited to try them, and I've spent a lot of time with different friends who have used them. So I'm gonna give it a go and see if it can help me out with my nursing this time. And then the last thing in the feeding vein is, and again, I thought I was never going to need these things, but you can actually order sample sets from Similac or Enfamil. We definitely ended up using these for both of our kids just when nursing was not going well and they needed to eat. So I recommend at least having a pack of this on hand just in case. Worst case scenario, you can give it to a friend, and I actually had a lot of friends who gave me theirs when they realized we were having issues with that, and it was a huge blessing for us. So I think you can just go to Similac.com and Enfamil.com and order it. This one I actually didn't even order. They just found out I was having another baby and sent it to me, which is kind of creepy, but I'm glad they sent it nonetheless. Now, the next things that you will want to have are a couple of baby tools that I think are essential. The first is a baby nail clipper. And this one is my favorite. It has a tiny little light. And so far, I have never accidentally cut a baby while using these baby clippers. Like, you hear horror stories about little fingers bleeding and things like that. And I started using these when I was a nanny, and I fell in love with them because you can just see so well that it makes it really hard to clip anything other than nail. And a nose Frida. These things are amazing, although it sounds absolutely disgusting before you're a parent. But you stick this part up their little nose, or not up the nose, just right next to the nose. And then you go put this end in your mouth and you actually suck the snot out of their nose. I know, it sounds disgusting. Don't worry though, there is a little filter in there to make sure that nothing gets up the tube. And we've used this for both of our babies, and we will use it for the next one, and it still works really well. So I would definitely say it's worth the investment. We have appreciated it very much. I was gonna say we've enjoyed it. We've never enjoyed it. Babies hate it. You never are using it when it's a fun time, but it gets the job done and helps your baby sleep much better when they have a really stuffy nose and they don't know how to blow their nose yet. And then the last of the absolute essentials is some skincare items. I do recommend using a baby soap and a baby lotion. We really like the Burt's Bees brand for that. It's worked really well for both of our kids. And then a diaper rash ointment. And again, this little Burt's Bees brand is absolutely amazing. Both of my girls at different times had a bad rash, and this stuff takes care of it so quickly and just puts a really nice barrier down there when you're putting their diaper on. So we absolutely love this stuff. I do not travel without it. I did make that mistake a couple of times with my oldest, and as soon as I would travel, I would need it. I can't say enough good things about it. Again, I started using this when I was a nanny and have continued to use it on my own kids. And I've tried different things here and there because I think it is a little bit more expensive than some others, but we always come back to this one and keep 2 or 3 on hand. I actually got 2 more tubes with our clearing discount, even though I have a couple left. I know I will use them and go through them. So cannot recommend this stuff enough if you are looking for a good diaper ointment. All right, now that we've gotten through all of the essentials, there are a few other items that you might want to consider. These I would not say are absolute essentials like the first part of the list is, but these are some items that you might find useful or convenient as you have your baby. So the first one is a baby bath. Now, we did not register for one of these initially, but we did have a friend loan us theirs for our first baby. And then they needed it back after just a few weeks, and we were already hooked by that point. We used it almost every night with our first baby because what else do you have to do when you only have one kid but give them a nice bath every single night? And then I think we used it twice with our second baby because I would end up just filling up the tub for our first baby, and then I would just kind of prop her up in the bath with her, clean her, and take her out. So it just made my life easier not to be filling up 2 tubs and just to have them both using the same water that I had already heated up. So I would definitely not say that this is necessary, especially after hardly using it with the second one. And it's not that she was filthy, she still got baths. I just didn't fill up the baby bath for her. But it is nice if you think that you want one and you have the budget and can afford it. It's definitely a nice addition, and then you can use it in other areas of the house too. So definitely an optional item. Can be convenient, but definitely not necessary. The next thing on the might be nice to have list is a stroller. And you might find it odd that this isn't a necessity as far as I am concerned, but what I suggest is choosing either a soft carrier or a stroller. And when you're making this decision, just look at what your life is like. Do you need something that you can wear the baby with? Do you need to be able to go up and down a lot of stairs with it? If you live in an apartment complex, stroller might actually be really difficult to get the stroller in and out of your apartment. And if you like to go on a lot of hikes, again, a stroller is more challenging to do that with than a soft carrier. Your baby will get used to whatever you choose to use, and there's really no right or wrong answer here. It's just a matter of what is most convenient for you. I use the soft carrier all the time with my babies. We do have an umbrella stroller, and I'll link the one that we have in the description down below because I do like it, but it's not something my babies enjoy being in because they're in it so infrequently. And like I said, whatever you choose to use on a consistent basis, your kids will get used to and they will enjoy. So just keep that in mind. A lot of people think they need to have one of everything. They need to have a stroller and a soft carrier and this and that. And really, it's just whatever you think you will use the most often, and your baby will get used to that. Something else that we chose to get that is definitely not necessary, people lived for thousands of years without these, is a monitor, a sound monitor specifically. The reason that we chose to have one of these is because I wasn't sure if I would be able to hear the baby when it was in its own room when I was in mine and fast asleep. We did not spend a lot of money on a sound monitor. We got, I think, the cheapest one at Target, and I'll see if I can find it and link it in the description down below for you. But you just need something that can tell you if your baby is crying or not if you choose to get one of these. It does not have to be fancy. The next thing, again, that is not necessary by any stretch of the imagination is a camera monitor. And the reason that we got a camera monitor is because we wanted to sleep train our babies. And having a camera monitor just brought a lot of peace of mind for us because we would be able to check on them without actually coming in and bothering them. If you have plans on sleep training your children, I do think the process is a little easier if you can have eyes on them without actually coming into the room. The next thing that we chose to do for our babies is have a white noise machine. And again, this is because we wanted to sleep train our children. We wanted them to be able to sleep well all through the night and at naps. And having a white noise machine definitely helps with that. So there is a lot of controversy about whether it's good to have a white noise machine or not, but we chose to do it because that was the philosophy that we had. And our kids were sleeping 12 hours a night by about 12 weeks old. And then they were taking 2 2-hour naps a day around the same time. And our kids are still really great sleepers. Yes, they do still sleep with their white noise machine, but I don't have a problem with that. When we go camping or somewhere where we can't have a white noise machine, they still sleep just fine. So it hasn't seemed to create any other issues for us. Now, the next item that you may want to put on your registry is some feeding items. It might be hard to realize as you are preparing for a newborn that that baby is going to grow up very quickly and start eating food. So a couple of things that we really like to have for when they start eating food is bibs. And we like those silicone bibs that have the little tray. I don't have them here with me. Maybe I'll take a video of it and pop it in the video. But we absolutely love those things. You don't need a lot of them because you just rinse them out after the meal, and they also catch everything, which is just amazing. Food doesn't get everywhere. It just lands right in the little tray. And I think we have 2 or 4 bibs. That's all we have. We don't have to have a whole drawer full of bibs. So those work really well for us. And then we also like to have some little baby spoons, and also, like I mentioned before, the sippy cup. So I will put links to those things in the description down below as well if you want to check those out. And then the last things that you may want to add to your registry, but again, is really not necessary, is a few little toys. So I have in here some silicone blocks, and we really love these things for when they are little. They can build with them and they don't hurt them, and they can throw them, chew on them, do whatever babies do with things. So we have a 12-pack of those. We also have this buckle toy, and this was just fantastic for 1 to 2-year-olds. It will keep them entertained for a long time in the car or at church, anywhere where you need them or want them to be a little more quiet. And yeah, they can work on buckling, they can work on unbuckling, and it doesn't look like much, but it sure does the trick for keeping them entertained. And they have a whole bunch of different shapes and sizes of these. They have a little book. It's more like a toy than a book actually, but it's in there. And then we have a shape sorter. So nothing too fancy in the toy department. I also do have my mom and our oldest daughter went to the store and found a little stuffy for the baby. But that's pretty much it as far as toys go for the baby. You really don't have to go overboard. We've never had the activity mats or anything like that. We've just kept it pretty simple with the toys, and I think it makes it so that they are more creative with their play when they have more simple toys to play with. So that is the end of this video. Please let me know in the comments down below if you have any favorite items that you think that I should check out. I'm sure other moms would love reading about those as well as they create their minimalist, budget-friendly baby registry. Don't forget to grab my Minimalist Baby Registry checklist, and please subscribe down below if you found this video helpful and you would be interested in seeing more videos like it. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.